Hi you, King here.
Are earthbenders the best type of benders? Well, let's break it down. Not only can you become immovable like the ground, you can also go through the ground as well as any type of physical object as if it was like sand to you. You can literally make mountains out of molehills and create seismic tremors with just a stomp. And when you add the plethora of various bending styles like metal, lava, and crystal, earthbending is legit. Seismic sense. Seismic sense is a subskill of earthbending that constitutes for physical sense. This skill enables earthbenders to detect vibrations in the ground to perceive objects, people, and other aspects of their environment, essentially acting as sonar, but through earth and metal. Seismic sense, however, is not without its limitations. The practitioner must always be in direct contact with an earthen surface, through which vibrations can pass, in order to detect their surroundings, which must also be in contact with the same mass of Earth. As such, a seismic sense user can detect airborne objects regardless of their alloy by estimating their flight path based on the stance of the person who launched them had on the earthen surface. If the user is in air or water, or even standing on a non-earthen solid such as ice or wood, the bender will be unable to sense anything through that substance. Crystal bending. Earthbending is not limited to rock or soil alone. An earthbender can also manipulate coals, chalk, salt, and even gems and crystals, allowing them to create armor, barriers, and even spiky projectiles to launch against their enemies. Crystal bending can also be used to control genomite, also known as creeping crystal, which is a mineral that grows at remarkably fast speeds when it comes in contact with organic matter. It is also the key ingredient in rock candy. Number 7. Sandbending. Sandbending is the specialized style of earthbending that involves bending loose sand instead of the solid earth. It is difficult for average earthbenders to get a hang of this subbending because, unlike regular earth, sand is loose and flowing, requiring a smoother and more relaxed technique, making the art more like water or air bending than regular earthbending. Even a prodigy earthbender like Toph had trouble using it because of its shifty nature. And similar to waterbending, sandbending is fluid in nature, with the added benefit of being able to disperse into the air and compress into solid form. These individual qualities are nasty abilities by themselves, but adding them together makes for a lethal combination. By spinning sand in a circular motion, sandbenders can create sandstorms and can send them in any direction, which is how they travel across the harsh deserts they call home. Metal bending. Metal bending is a specialized subskill of earthbending that allows an earthbender to ferrokinetically bend the natural and processed metal in a similar fashion to bending regular earth. Long regarded as an impossible feat, the ability was invented by Toph Beifong, since metal is merely earth that has been purified and refined. Metal bending is rooted in the ability to detect the tiny fragments of earth within metal, the manipulation of which molds the surrounding alloy, thus making the subskill possible. Metal benders have adapted the discipline for use as a remote and contact-based ability. And metal benders can bend all sorts of different types of metals like iron and steel to even liquid metal for a variety of different usages, with the only type they seemingly can't bend being platinum. And Kuvira, a prodigy metal bender, could even use the subbending to manipulate a giant robot which she used to trounce a city. Lava bending. Lava bending is a specialized subskill of earthbending that allows the user to manipulate molten earth. This rare ability allows the bender to phase change earth into lava, and vice versa, lava into earth, and otherwise manipulate existing lava with great dexterity. Since lava bending is seen to be a unique genetic trait only found in rare few earthbenders, it is potentially the most powerful and versatile earthbending ability that provides an earthbender with an array of both offensive and defensive possibilities during battle. Since only a small amount of earth is necessary to create a useful amount of lava to bend, it is also beneficial in environments with very little earth to manipulate. In addition, the use of lava bending to turn a portion of the earth into lava allows earthbenders to isolate themselves from their opponents and avoid battles at close range. The attacks at a lava bender's disposal range from small scale like lava shurikens to large attacks such as conjuring blasts of lava or entire streams of it, or waves straight out of the earth. BoneBenders. Now, y'all might be staring at this video crazy, thinking like, is this another blood bending situation but for earthbenders? And yeah, it very well might be, because in this new cyberpunky generation that the creators of Avatar says that the new iteration of Avatar is going to be placed in, where the human anatomy is going to be pushed to its limits with cybernetic integration, why not get bone bending involved in it? I always figured that waterbenders were too OP because of their access to the ultimate forbidding bending type, bloodbending. And yeah, it has nerfs such as the rule stating that waterbenders need the full moon out to even be able to bloodbend, and that the rare few that can do it without the full moon are part of a rare genetic bloodline of bloodbenders that can psychically bloodbend, which the infamous Amon comes from. But that's still too OP that if you and your crew just happen to run into a bloodbender during the full moon, then that's basically it for you and your squad, regardless of what type of bender they are, unless they are also a bloodbender. So yeah, I figure, hey, let's even up the board by allowing earthbenders access to such a forbidden bending type. But you might be asking yourself, how would earthbenders bend bone? Well, here's a geology class for you. Calcium is a type of earth material. It is an alkaline earth mineral that is the 5th most abundant element in the Earth's crust and the 3rd most abundant metal besides iron and aluminum. So guess what that means? Simply put, earthbenders can bend the hell out of it. But guess what? The human body is naturally protected by chi fields. It is the thing that protects a person's body from a bender being able to bend the elements within them. And it is the same reason why waterbenders can't simply bend blood on the regular without the power boost of a full moon. So even though bone benders could exist, I couldn't see earthbenders controlling a person's body the same way bloodbenders could without a similar sufficient power boost. And it is said that earthbenders can get such a power boost from a natural earthquake, but those are rare. As rare as just finding bones laying about just waiting for you to bend them, unless they're buried fossils from an old dead beast or skeletons from a nearby graveyard. Yeah, that's right. I'm saying if they incorporate bone benders into the new Avatar series, it could get creepy and scary real quick, as they would be able to bend the fossils of, let's say, a dead dragon, so making it seems to their enemies that they're being attacked by a ghostly bone dragon. And they'll be able to do the same thing with all the various fossils of the various beasts of the Avatar world, whether it's flying bisons or badger moles. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And it could create such a unique, awesome character type. I mean, a goth-like earthbender that can bend bones, that can turn basically any graveyard they step upon into an undead army to aid whatever their cause is. Honestly, it writes itself, and with a lot of Avatar fans grown up and being adults, you would want the story to be more mature and have more mature bending types, and what's more rated M than bone bending? Plus, for a fun tidbit for a filler episode or whatnot, whenever they're not bending bones, they could bend seashells, because shells are also made out of calcium. And the bone bending ability could be utilized by a singular individual who could have created and developed the ability because they just love the concept of graves and controlling the power of the dead. And they could be a major antagonist to the new Avatar as they go around collecting bones and fossils to grow their army of the dead. Who knows? But the possibilities for bone benders are indeed there. So if you like this video, then please like, share, subscribe, and follow Puppet Benders. Okay. Now y'all might be saying, okay, he's gone too far on this one, but honestly, I haven't gone far enough. Just hear me out. Puppet Benders will be a subset of earthbenders created by a weaker group of earthbenders that instead of bending the earth around them, simply bends clay that has been fashioned into a puppet for their usage. You see, not everyone can be good at everything, and just how there are people in the Avatar world who aren't as good at hunting or fishing as others are, there will be benders who aren't as good at bending their element as other benders are. But because they still retain the ability to bend, they find ways around it. Hence, in this example, puppet bending. By fashioning clay, which is found in the natural world and can be bent by earthbenders because it is an earth mineral, into puppets, they then train themselves to be able to fully utilize these clay puppets through earthbending.
So even though they aren't able to summon earth pillars or stone walls out of the ground or move and control heavy giant boulders without touching them, they still are able to prove themselves a threat to their enemies. Because I could see them filling these clay puppets with poison-tipped daggers, ropes, nets, poisonous gas, smoke, swarm of deadly bees, even flash bombs. Basically utilizing the entire clay puppet as an assassination type weapon to be utilized by, obviously, earthbending assassins. And I could see these earthbending assassins being members of the new iteration of Daili, who serves whoever is the current ruler of the Earth Kingdom. And finally, I can also see these earthbending assassin-trained puppet benders being able to rival benders or cyborg benders via integrating the newest forms of technology into their clay puppets to further aid them on their assassin missions. All of that to simply say puppet benders may sound like it, but they would be the furthest thing from a joke. They would be the type of people you would underestimate until they would got so close before you even had a chance to regret it.
The Iron Sand Benders will be a new subset of benders that will be derived from metal benders who were derived from earth benders. You see, with metal benders bending the earth within the metal, it's what allowed them to develop the art of metal bending. You see, being originated from Toph, it was cultivated by one of her daughters, leading towards the creation of the city of Zaofu, where earthbenders could go to become metal benders. And then there are sand benders who bend the smallest particles of earth. Like water benders, they let the earth flow through sand and control that flow. But because of that similarity to water bending, it is the most difficult bending style for earthbenders. And it is because so many things are made out of the earth that it makes sense that there are so many subsets of earthbending. But what is iron sand bending and how could it be developed? Well, in this new cyberpunky era, I would imagine that there would be a lot of innovations and advancements with non-benders and benders working to improve technology and better understand their surroundings and environment and the world that they live in. And I can imagine the city of Zaofu being the lead in that innovation because of their origin in artistic expression as well as mastery over metal bending. And I can see them being similar to Wakanda, the city of the future in Marvel Comics, developing both iron sand and iron sand bending from experimentation on how metal bending can be further improved. And this could be a game changer when it comes to combat, because I can see them rocking iron sand in both clothing and arsenal, carrying that heavy load around because earthbenders are naturally stronger than non-benders and other benders, and being able to manipulate the iron sand around them into various forms and constructs that they can use for both defense and offense, like creating giant hands to both crush or slap their enemies around. I could also see them creating various weapons out of the iron sand, and it would just be similar to the capabilities of a waterbender, but be made out of harder, tougher stuff. But there's still the difficulties of earthbenders manipulating sand-like elements because of how similar sand is to water and waterbending. And it is because of that problem is where science and technology comes into play. Because I can see the people of this cyberpunk Zaofu implementing ferromagnetic metals and materials into both their technology and iron sand, to use magnetism to help them better manipulate the iron sand and give them greater ease at bending it. And I can see them reconstructing Zaofu out of ferromagnetic metals and then covering it with iron sand to give iron sand benders the possibility of being able to control their city and manipulate it however they want, whenever they want, allowing them to create passageways and roads and create different types of architecture in whichever way, whenever, the way they did with old Zaofu, but have an even easier time now that everything is more sand-like. And again, this would allow the cyberpunk Zaofu to truly be the city of the future, as regardless of how advanced technology is everywhere in the future of the Avatar world, Zaofu, this new Zaofu, will truly be able to do whatever they want through the manipulation of iron sand and the the development of this new subset of bending, iron sand bending. As for how it could affect the overall story, well, for one, I could see the new Avatar 2025, being an iron sand bender. Maybe in the beginning he has difficulties learning the other three bending, but it's okay because he has mastery over this new unique style of bending, iron sand bending, where in a cyberpunky future, that could really get you far because most things would be made out of metal. And maybe through the Avatar state, he could turn any metallic material into iron sand. It would be really savage and cool. Or they could simply be an antagonistic force or allies waiting in the grass. Who knows? But all I know is if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and follow, and comment down your thoughts. Thank you.